Hey.
Yeah, Jason's coming in.
Okay, 5:30.
Hey, Jason, go ahead and say something. Jason. Jason. He's not muted.
We can hold up, we don't have.
Jason, is your microphone on? He's using earbuds. Oh, he's turning it on now.
There we go.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, we'll start with the, are we ready? We'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Dankert, would you do the roll call, please?
Mayor Steen,
Present.
Councilmember at Large Austin,
Present.
Councilmember Fisher,
Present.
Baskin,
Present.
Helly,
Present.
Waller,
Present.
King,
Present.
Bashusta.
Present.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
All right. Item number 1, we need a motion for adoption of the agenda.
With additions.
With addition. Backup material.
So moved.
I'm gonna say Laura, and then we need a is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Steve is second. All in favor? Raise your.
You have to do a
Roll call on
roll
each one.
call for everything, motions and resolutions. So I'll have to do a roll call for every motion or resolution.
Okay, you've all got that, right? We have to do a roll call for everything. So, Mr. Dankert, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Helly,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. We need a motion approving the minutes from March 16th, 2020. Need a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Steve. Tom is checking something, and he'll do the roll call.
Councilmember Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Helly,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. We have nothing on the recognitions and awards. Number 4 is a motion for the consent agenda. We need a motion.
So moved.
Is there, okay, Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Paul. Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Helly,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Bashusta,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under bid openings and awards, number 5 is a resolution receiving bids for the Turtle Creek Trail Extension. Steven, is this one by my house?
Yes.
Oh, great, great. That'll be good. Steven?
You can't transmit anything.
Yes, this project is located over in your neighborhood. This is a proposed trail project that will go from 4th Street Southwest to Busted Park, following along Turtle Creek Trail. This is located on a lot of property that we acquired through flood acquisition, and we think that this will be a very well-used trail in that neighborhood. It'll connect a couple key points along the north side of Turtle Creek. And with this project, we had 2 bidders. The low bidder was Hanson Hauling and Excavating at $215,090. And we have 2 grants that will pay 70% of the project cost. So our local cost is 30% of that, or $65,090. And that will come out of our capital improvement fund. So with the Hormel Foundation grant and the DNR grant, paying 70% of the funds, we would recommend awarding this project to Hanson Hauling and Excavating.
This goes all the way to 12th Street, right?
Not yet. This just
Not?
goes to Busted Park right now. In order to get to 12th Street, we'll have to find some unique ways to get there, because the either cross over Turtle Creek or find our way around.
So it'd go right about to where that sewage pipe crosses Turtle Creek?
Goes farther than that.
Goes a little farther than that, actually goes to 10th Street, which would be the west side of the Busted
Okay, yep,
baseball
yep.
field.
And we anticipate the scheduling on that for this year?
Yeah, they want to get started right away this spring as soon as conditions are favorable.
Excellent. Council, do you have anything? Nobody?
Stephen, Mr. Lang, I noticed there's a considerable difference in the bids and also the winning bid was considerably lower than your estimate. Is that the current economic times or just a coincidence?
Yeah, just a coincidence. I think everybody looks at it a little bit differently. The two bidders here, we have a local contractor, and then we also have a Rochester contractor. So we get the Rochester contractor. There could be extra costs in there for mobilizations and things like that that the local guy does not have.
Okay,
So the
perfect.
local,
Nope, go ahead.
so the local would have kind of a built-in advantage, which I'm all for, right?
Correct.
Good, okay. Council, anybody else? Okay,
No, I think it'll be a really good addition and it'll be a great add to that neighborhood.
okay. All right, now, okay, with that, then if there's nothing else, we need a resolution on number 5.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second? Laura?
Second.
I saw Laura's finger. Did you second it?
Sure.
Okay, well, Laura. Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher. Baskin.
Aye.
Helly.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
King. King.
Aye.
Bashusta.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Number 6 is a resolution receiving bids for asphalt street reconstruction. Stephen?
This year, we combined all of our asphalt street reconstruction into one bid. Again, just trying to try different things to entice contractors to hopefully get the work done in a timely manner and try to lower our overall construction costs on projects, just trying to look at something different this year. So in doing that, it's a larger amount, but again, it's all of our asphalt streets, which are 6 or 7 roadways throughout town. Yulin Brothers, we had 2 bidders on this project. Yulin Brothers was the low bid, a little over $3 million. This was underneath our engineer's estimate, and we will use our capital improvement fund, our wastewater treatment plant fund, and our storm sewer fund. And then adjacent property owners will also be assessed based on our assessment policy. We would recommend awarding the project to Yulin Brothers.
Council, any comments or anything? If not, we need a resolution for number 6.
So move the resolution.
Paul and
Second.
Steve, Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin.
Aye.
Helly.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Bashusta.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 7 is a resolution receiving bids for concrete street reconstruction. Stephen?
This project is located on 10th Street Northeast and also 4th Street Southwest. Again, combining a couple projects that are going to be concrete. We had 4 bidders on the project, which is really good for us. Doyle Connor was the low bidder at $1,150,775.60. This is a state aid roadway. We'll be using state aid funds for this, along with wastewater treatment plant funds, and also assessing it to adjacent property owners. We'd recommend awarding this project to Doyle Connor Company.
Council, any input? If not, we need a resolution for number 7.
So moved.
Steve? Is there a second?
Second.
Second, okay, and Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin.
Aye.
Helly.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Bashusta.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Thank you. Number 8 is a series of resolutions receiving bids for Turtle Creek 2 sanitary sewer project, Stephen.
Yes, the first one for number 8A, is related to the bidding, contractor construction work on the project for extension of sanitary sewer to the area called Turtle Creek 2, which is located west of town on 36th, 37th, and 40th Streets Northwest. It's a project we've been working on for quite some time, going back 5 years or so. And again, we had 3 bidders on the project. As Mr. Austin referenced before, there's a good bit of separation between the low bidder and the second and third bidder. But the low bidder on this project is Elcor Construction Inc. out of Rochester. Their bid amount is $1,171,227.45. As we talk about other items that are coming up as item B and item C, we have a breakdown of different cost at the bottom of the handout. This that we're looking at now is the construction portion of the work. About 66% of the overall project cost will be funded through a point source implementation grant, and 34% will be funded locally. The local portion will initially come out of our wastewater treatment plant fund, and it will be reimbursed through our sanitary sewer access charge as individual property owners choose to hook up to this project. So with that, we would recommend awarding the project to Elcor Construction.
Council, anything? If not, we need a resolution for A, awarding the bid.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Helly,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. We need another resolution for B, certifying funds for a point source implementation grant. We need a resolution.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Steve. Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Helly,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. And our final resolution under 8C is that we need a resolution awarding construction, surveying, and inspection services. We need a resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Helly,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under petitions and requests, number 9 is a resolution approving budget adjustment number 3. Mr. Dankert.
As we've done in the past, we have some dollars in the State Aid Street Reconstruction Fund that we would like to move from that fund into the Capital Improvement Revolving Fund. Capital Improvement Revolving Fund uses mainly tax levy to pay for that middle portion of the street that everyone drives on. But as we've noted in the past, that the assessments collections are not keeping up with the increased costs in the street projects. Therefore, with the State Aid Street Fund, which gets gas tax money to do streets, plus our policy that treats all residents the same, that they have to pay an assessment if they're on that street, we'd in essence like to use the assessments that are collected from the State Aid Street Fund, move them over to help offset the capital improvement fund for future cash flows. So at this point in time, we'd request council authorize and approve a budget adjustment or a transfer of $1.5 million from State Aid Street into the capital improvement revolving fund.
Thank you, Tom. Council, any input? If not, we need a resolution for number 9.
So move the resolution.
Resolution.
Is there a second? Paul, you want to second it? Jeff got the resolution. You want a second by Paul?
Sure.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Fisher,
Aye.
Baskin,
Aye.
Helly,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
King,
Aye.
Pashusta,
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 10 is a resolution approving a labor agreement and memorandum of agreement between the City of Austin and the Austin Employees Association. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mayor and members. We have a agreement here, one of our additional contractor approval for 2020 through 2022 with the Austin Employees Association. These are various positions throughout the city. There's several motions. We've outlined the changes to the contract in the packet for your consideration. To the several different provisions are to accommodate the retroactivity to July 1st, 2019. We also included the MOA as Exhibit 1B. In addition, there's an MOA for the step placement and movement through the BPS for the 2020 through 2022 years, and Exhibit 1C is an MOA to rescind the previously adopted HCSP addendum. Now we'd include that as Exhibit 1D. We'd need council approval of that and authorize the mayor and recorder to attest the agreement. Be happy to answer any questions from council.
Council, any questions? If not,
Yeah, I
we
think
need
the
a
one-
I'm sorry.
From my perspective, really the one thing, and I have a pretty good idea of how this vote will go, but consistent with the overall comp class, I think a 31% increase over 3 years is financially unsustainable in the best of times. I think especially with unemployment increasing, with a lot of our businesses that are having zero revenue right now and major cash flow issues, that this is an even more challenging time to be handing out those level of raises.
Anybody else? If not, we need a resolution for number 10.
So move the resolution.
Steve King, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
By Jeff, Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin. Councilmember Baskin.
Nay.
Helly.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Pashusta.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-1, Your Honor.
Thank you. Number 11 is a resolution approving a one watershed, one plan resolution. Mr. Lang.
Justin Hansen from the Soil and Water Conservation District and the Cedar River Watershed District was here at our last work session presenting information of where they're at with the one watershed, one plan. Again, this concept is a watershed-based program that identifies needs throughout the watershed. In our case, the watershed encompasses 4 counties, and in the past, water efforts were based on a county level. So this plan helps to prioritize projects on a watershed-based level that will create partnerships between the 4 different counties, and in this case, the 5th entity is the city of Austin. Council passed a resolution a couple of years back to be part of this group through the planning process, and now this step is to pass a resolution stating that we want to be part of the project development moving forward, and that we will work with the One Watershed, One Plan group to support future projects. So with that, recommend approval of the resolution.
Okay, council, anything? If not, we need a resolution for number 11.
So move resolution.
Okay, Mr. King, is there a second?
Second.
Jason and Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin.
Aye.
Helly.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Pashusta.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Austin.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. For number 12, we're going to have an update on the COVID-19. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mayor and members. These certainly are trying times. I think this is certainly the first time we've met remotely, and certainly most likely through any internet means that we've had here. So I appreciate council and everyone being flexible in these times. We wanted to start with Chief McKeegan, who's taken point on the COVID issues, and he'll address those at the kind of 50,000 foot level for Mower County. And then we'll have some questions and more comment on how this is impacting our employees.
David?
Obviously, since we last met on the 16th, a lot has happened. Even during that meeting, we saw the governor enact the ban on places of public accommodation. And so while things have moved quickly, we've had to digest a lot of HR type issues, both at the state level with our own employees and some of the federal legislation that's gone into effect. And I think we've really had good partnerships within the city working on those, letting the department heads tailor and structure those for their own departments. All of it really trying to build out resiliency for the potential of sickness coming through our ranks and impacting critical services. Right now, we still stand on the brink of a little bit of an unknown. We haven't seen those losses, but we've been preparing for them really in the last 3 weeks. So partnerships within the city, from the mayor, city attorney, department heads, your city administrator, HR have all been really good. We also share good, strong partnerships with the county. That includes those county department heads and also their emergency management and their sheriff's department. Chief McCoy and I go to meetings twice a week at an emergency operations center where Mayo often liaisons in. We share information, we keep abreast of what's going on. There's a lot of different pieces kind of at play, really again designed for us to prepare for a situation where more of our citizens might be sick. The good news until this point, and I know most are watching that Minnesota Department of Health website the way I am, is Mauer's still at 17. We've kind of added a case or two a day. That tells us, or at least tells me, I think, that this social distancing piece is working for us. I think we need to stay the course, which I know can get difficult when you only see 1 or 2 a week, but I think it's important. I think our state's doing quite well. Wisconsin's about double our cases. Iowa's just about caught us. But if you go one more state over, Michigan's got about 15,000 cases. So it can kind of tell you how quickly this can spiral if you don't stay the course and keep these social distancing things going. I know one of the most important things on that Minnesota Department of Health website, if you get beyond just how many people are testing every day, which has been a pretty consistent number, is the hospitalizations. And to me, that's the threshold we're all worried about just from a community standpoint. Will the hospitals have the resources that our state and our community need to treat the ill and get them back to health? We know if we kind of overflow that particular resource, that can cause some problems and cause us to perhaps lose some citizens who might have been able to win their fight if we had the resources. And on that particular graph, we do see a steady increase of those that are currently in ICU and those that are currently hospitalized. We have 115 of those combined as of today, but just 5 days ago it was around 50. And so that's really the number we want to take a look at to see what that trend is when they talk about the peak, which they're still estimating is going to be about April 21st for us. It's the peak of that number that's going to really dictate, do we have the hospital resources in place and have these social distancing measures worked for us to make sure we don't overflow or crest what's available for our citizens in that regard.
Thank you, David. Council, do you have any questions? A lot of unknowns right now. Everybody's looking for information. David, you've been excellent on this. Thank you for your efforts.
Yes, I want to echo, I did mention to the chief before the meeting that really have appreciated his updates and his postings on Facebook for the public. Really very thorough, very informative, and appreciate his efforts in leading this.
I think we're fortunate that David came from a medical background, medical family, and he really has a grasp for a lot of this stuff that a lot of us don't. Council, anybody else?
I just echo what the mayor and Jeff said and thank the chief and all the folks that are working on this. I think they're doing a great job, really good communication, and very much appreciate it.
Okay.
And I like I said, I just want to appreciate, this has been a great council to work with. This has been a great team. There's a lot going on. I think it's important to get you the information and kind of be the spokesman, but Everybody in this room has really done a lot within their department to make things happen in the city. Chief McCoy is out working with a lot of the rural and smaller fire and EMS, and so it's one of those things where in Austin we have that kind of experience that's translating out into the county to support those smaller agencies that might not either see some of these things on a regular basis, but like I said, a lot is being done both in the city, but some of that expertise, especially like in the case of Chief McCoy, is going out in the county as well. All of us trying to serve not only our city, but our region too.
Okay,
Chief,
anybody
if there were
else?
2 or 3 messages you wanted to make sure that we were amplifying out to the public, what would that be?
The biggest one is to stay the course. As you don't see things around you change, it can be easy to be lax. We want it, that social distancing is an important piece. Washing your hands, doing all those things make a real difference. The CDC just recommended mask wear in public, which is really about source control. It's about controlling what comes out of you to keep the people around you safe. And that is something, there's a lot of easy designs out there. I know several in this room tonight have brought their masks with them and are floating around out there. And I think the more people practice that in public, the more comfortable other people are going to be with that. So, that's one of the big messages is just stay the course, listen to the recommendations from the governor. I know they change, but like I said, I do think they're making a difference for us.
Thank you, David. Anybody else?
Mayor?
Craig?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, that I think staff is very cognizant that we're operating under our pandemic plan that extends certain ability to the mayor, myself, and Chief McKeegan to take decisive action on these topics. We do our best to inform council of that. But this is our opportunity too, if council wants to provide any feedback on that, especially as it's related to employees that we provided. We have general broad exemption under the governor's executive order, so we want to make sure that we're operating within council direction as far as that and as best we can. If there's any feedback, please don't hesitate to let us know. We expect that and look forward to hearing from you if you have any concerns or questions.
Thank you, Craig.
I guess just one thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if we're to that point or not yet, but I noticed some of the communication to employees from the HR department. It would be nice if we could have been copied on that at the same time or near the same time, because some of us I know have been contacted by employees, and to know what they're reading and what they're looking at would be helpful to be able to respond them and guide them as to who to talk to and what to expect. I know it's very fluid and very, very anxious times for a lot of people, so as much of us that are in this position as informed as we can be, would be as helpful as possible, I would think.
We can do that, right, Craig?
Yep, and those are on the internet, those are available, but yeah, we can specifically send those out as well.
I will say initially, in the first week or so, this was moving so fast.
Oh,
Things
definitely.
are changing on a daily basis, and now that we're kind of settled in.
By the
and-
minute.
Yeah.
On some days.
We're in kind of a long-term plan now. I think it'll be a lot easier to not only get it out to council, but get input on, further changes that we need. All right, with that, we don't have any citizens here to address the council. Karam, are you on this?
Yes, I am.
Okay, did you want to tell us how, the people in the immigrant community are faring under this? You don't really hear or see much of them. My block is, I have 6 houses on my block, and, even I don't even see them to talk to them, really.
Which is good.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we've been hearing a lot, so I've been working a lot closely with the schools to ensure that all the students are, that they have the resources that they need, and, that families are equipped right now. So one of the things that we've been hearing a lot is that a lot of for example, the Karen or the Karenni families are generally scared to go out to the to the stores, and so a lot of them are staying indoors, or if they do go out, they are making sure that they wear their mask. But one of the things that, again, that we've been hearing is that they really are not going out. And if they do go out, they're wearing those masks. But we've been working closely to ensure that all those students, have their needs met, whether that is working with Salvation Army or hoping to get the backpack program running here shortly in the next couple of days, just making sure that those families, have what they need. So I guess that's all I have, just knowing that a lot of our families are scared to, and when it's something different, and you don't know what, the long-term, I guess, effects of this, a lot of them are scared. So that's all I have, I guess, to say, but I'm just thankful to be able to know that, the city council meetings are continuing, and to see all the projects that are still continuing and still being worked on, even though there's all these things happening in the background.
And I would imagine United Way is really ramped up their activity also, haven't they?
We are definitely being stretched left and right now. But I think, this is sort of the time where the community is really coming together. It's been really neat to be able to see how everybody's working together. Everybody wants to lend a helping hand right now, which is so great to see.
Well, thank you. I think it's important that our honorary council, that we started this program. This is a population that's easily overlooked by us, and hopefully we can get input into, how we can better serve them.
Mayor, if I could just weigh in. I do know that, a topic of conversation and of concern for Mayo, when they do check in with us, is working on communication issues with some of our non-English community. Sarah Lee's been working on that, and I know they're developing some strategies. They do plan on ultimately using some of our local resources to push those messages out. I know they're considering doing some video type messaging to try to get those things out into the community. I think the being scared and not having a lot of information is a situation we all find ourselves in as things change so quickly. There are a lot of unknowns. The not going out, it's that fine line between we want you to go out and shop, but sending like one person out is actually what's being encouraged. I know some of the local retailers are saying, let's just have one person come in. I try to go, maybe once, twice on a weekend and not go out during the week. So the opportunity's there. We want you to limit travel. The other thing though too is it's those resources are there, be it foods in the grocery store, our restaurants and others are finding ways to do takeout. And I think it's just important too that the community knows, limit your time out, plan it out, make it specific. But I think it's important to go to our local retailers as well during this time. Just do it safely. And like I said, instead of taking maybe 3 or 4 of the family out, it would just be 1 or 2 people to try to balance the economic necessity of getting things from our local retailers while limiting the amount of contact people in our community have with each other right now.
David, you said you're out and about in the stores. Are we pretty well stocked up on everything now? Are there still shortages that you've seen?
I've never seen a shortage on food items per se. You get some popular ones with the kids not being in school. I think some of the mac and cheese type items are hard to get right now. But for the most part, I've never noticed an issue with our food supply locally. I think it's in great shape. I, again, applaud all of those people who are working our retail sector, from our markets, our gas stations, all those folks, in our supply chain are doing a fantastic job. And I know I'm very appreciative of everyone who's coming into work right now and supplying us with those needs. But no, I have not noticed any shortages.
How about paper products?
I don't go out again very often, and a couple times I've been out, I've seen them there. There's still a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy when you go out and you don't see them there, or you see a sign that says buy only one. I think it kind of makes you buy one, and it just keeps that cycle going. But really, again, the fundamentals of what we hear from those industries are there's not a shortage other than one we are making through just buying it and holding on to it. But the retail market and what's available on our grocery shelves looks really good the times I've been out.
good, and thank you. All right, with that, we're
I
gonna
think what
go,
we're seeing, to build on that, from a food supply standpoint, I think what we're seeing is a lot of manufacturers are focusing in on some of the core items. So maybe there's not as many varieties of bread or buns or other products, but kind of the key, put them in your pantry type of items, they're trying to focus a lot of their production capacity on that. And we are seeing it's moderating a little bit. I think demand is still pretty high based on what we see. But it's maybe 20 to 30% higher than a year ago right now, as opposed to it was like 200 to 300% above a year ago, a couple weeks ago. So still strong demand, but people are maybe a little bit less panicked by buying a little bit less pantry loading from an immediate standpoint.
okay, thank you, Jason. We're gonna go around now, I'll call on you, and just any comments you have prior to, our closing of the meeting. Paul?
I've got nothing.
Jason?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Laura?
You know, I always have something.
Yep, that's good.
I wanted to say and give a shout out to my friend Kathy Elid, who made this gorgeous little mask for my daughter. Thank you. And also to say that I will be, as I'm out and about, wearing the mask. And I just want you to know I feel weird about it, but I'm smiling underneath.
Put it on
And
for
I hope
us.
everybody else will be doing the same thing. Feel weird, but wear the mask. It's part of what we're doing that's going to make a difference. I also wanted to say that, and this kind of goes to Karam's point too, this is really hard. The rules change like every day, and we're all, we're Minnesotans, we're tough, and we're just going to keep powering through, and we're helping each other, and I think we're all doing a great job, but it is really hard. And so I just want to share the text line for a crisis counselor. If you're on the edge, is 741-741. That's a national text line. You can do any time of the day or night, and they'll put you in touch with local resources. So I know we're tough, and I know we're toughing it out, but don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. And I'm really proud of Austin. I see people doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I appreciate it. And yeah, it's great to hear from the chief that the main message is not, hey guys, follow the rules. The main message is just stay the course. Just stay the course. Just keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to be okay. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Rebecca?
I got nothing.
Steve?
Yeah, I'd like to publicly thank the Hormel Foods Corporation with what they're doing with the meals for the senior citizens, donating about 350 meals per day from local restaurants. And then Karam, our council folk, what do you call those? What is Karam? Anyway, Karam's doing a great job kind of coordinating the Salvation Army Senior Center's response to getting about 900 meals out a day. So that's pretty incredible. The Hormel Foods is willing to step up and help support local restaurants in this time, and then Karam for her services, getting all these seniors' needs met with the food. And outside of that, I just want to make sure that that's out there publicly, that we're thanking them for support
Thank you.
of the folks that really need it. Also, as the grid, I look at my grid for this Zoom meeting, and if all things are accurate, I'd be Greg Brady, and it looks like Paul Fisher would be Marshall Brady.
Thank you, Steve.
So happy about my position.
I'm cutting you off, Steve. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Joyce?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Jeffrey?
Yeah, a couple things, please. Chief, I guess one question for you. I've heard from other communities where the governor set up a hotline and people are out calling in on their other members of the community. Have you seen an uprise or an increase in calls and people complaining about too many people being out and doing something or being somewhere?
We really fielded no calls of that nature. One or two that had some really unique circumstances to them, but other than that, and I think Laura mentioned it, I think the Austin community's been doing a fantastic job of abiding by it, of staying home, making the necessary trips they need to make. It's as our weather fluctuates, we're seeing a lot of people out and about on foot, which I think is a good thing, and it's kind of a neat thing to see.
Yeah.
A neat thing to see in the community, getting out, and I think that's important to kind of, I think cabin fever is a real thing.
Oh, definitely.
And so we're seeing that. I expect tomorrow, if we get up in the upper 60s, we'll see it, and the weather will turn against us again. So other than seeing a lot more people than I recall out and about, we really have not gotten any complaints from our citizens on other citizens at this point in time. And just some of the minor ones we've had to follow up on. Everyone's been really receptive to it. And I know I did a shout out to all the people coming in, the cashiers and all those people doing work, but I think it's important to really recognize and honor those who are taking the governor's order to heart, those people that aren't coming in to work, those people that are saying, yeah, I recognize, and I don't want to say they're not essential, they're essential to the fabric of our community, but they're making an effort to limit their staff, limit what they're doing. In some cases, they are completely closing down. And obviously that's a tough thing as well. And like I said, I know of having a family in town, appreciate what they're doing too. And like I said, it's incredibly heroic, the sacrifice they're making at this point in time.
Thank you. And I guess that's what I've seen too, and I just wanted to kind of confirm that. I guess also did give a word of congratulations to our staff and members here that are working on this, but I guess I'd like to also give a shout out to the people in town, the healthcare workers and those frontline retail people and those that are continuing to work and serve the needs of the people to make sure that we do have our everyday supplies that we need, and especially the healthcare workers. A lot of added stress. It's a stressful profession to begin with, let alone a situation like this that really puts that added stress on them, and to know that they are appreciated and they're making progress, and to thank them from the bottom of our hearts. That's all I have, Your Honor.
And the people at Quick Trip, Jeff, I know you work there, but really, if it wasn't for Quick Trip, a lot of people would be going to the grocery stores. I mean, Quick Trip has really taken a lot of pressure off of a lot of our resources right now. Craig?
Thank you, Mayor, members. In this time with the legislature meeting, I did reach out to Senator Sparks and Representative Poppy just to check status of the bonding bill. As you know, we have a substantial request related to our wastewater treatment plant. They both felt optimistic that we will see a bonding bill through the legislature this year, and were positive on the possibility of our inclusion in that bill. So that, as the uncertainty at the legislature transpires, it's good to hear that the bonding bill is something they still hope to have advance, and hopefully advance with financial consideration for Austin of our wastewater treatment plant. So wanted to share that with members in the community.
Thank you, Craig. Any reports?
I don't believe so.
Okay, then I just like to, reiterate some of the other stuff. I've been walking around, and people are so friendly right now. I mean, you could stop and talk to anybody, and
Keep your distance, your social distance.
No, I have two big dogs. They keep their distance. And I want to thank the food volunteers. I mean, they're getting so many meals out right now. I know that's a lot of work for the agencies and the volunteers that are delivering it. I also know I'd like to thank the city workers. I know there's a lot of apprehension everywhere right now, but the city workers are, these are the people that keep your sewers going and things like that. And a lot of times we don't think about that, but we're thinking about it now, and we're very grateful to them. With that, if there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn till Monday, April 20th, 2020 at 5:30.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, Laura and Mr. Dank, we need a roll call for this too, I assume.
Councilmember Fisher.
Aye.
Baskin.
Aye.
Helly.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
King. Councilmember King.
Good, King.
Aye.
Pashusta.
wanted to do that to him.
Councilmember Pashusta.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're gonna go right into the work session, obviously. At some point, we're gonna have to have a system where I know everybody wants to talk, and we can kind of call on them when you're in person. And what happened, Don, how do we work this now? Because we know we're gonna have people wanting to chip in at the same time on things potentially.
There's a feature on here that you can just raise your hand.
So you just raise
You
their
just click
hands?
the hand button, and it'll let us know that you want to talk.
But when that happens, I would ask people not to just talk. When we do that, let's raise our hands and get called on, otherwise we're gonna have a real mess here. All right, number one, dental amalgam ordinance. Stephen, can you say that?
Dental amalgam.
Okay.
Yep. So this is a new ordinance for us to enact. It's being brought forward by the MPCA, and the whole theory behind it is to catch mercury that